So as we introduced the last Thursday on chapter 2, we get on to the data analytics, especially in the accounting information system field. So first, we learned a analytic model can be applied to many different disciplines. Okay, not only accounting, you can use this approach to conduct research on marketing, general management, finance, or even like science and engineering field. Because when we are facing this tremendous amount of data, right? So we call big data, big volume, and like fast speed. So how we can use effective and efficient steps to perform any data analytics. So these are some recommended steps. So before you collect the data, work on your research, you need to identify or clear up or identify the question you are trying to solve. So actually, I think the most critical stage in this approach before you do anything is ask the right question. Okay, not only ask the question, probably you already heard about it from other type of like conducting a research. So ask the right question. Like when you're facing a different situations, for example, if we work on the accounting field, you must identify the specific questions from the managers or from yourself. Okay, what problem I want to solve, what concerns I have for the operations or for the reporting. For example, as we did later, okay, so how about my management of the accounts receivables? Do we have a lot of accounts receivables past due, right, past due date? Because account receivable management is an important part of your like the cash management or like the overall asset management. If you have too many outstanding accounts receivables past due, we couldn't get all of the cash collected on time, right? So collected on time or in time, so you will face problems with the cash reserve. So in that case, you may run into cash shortage, too many bad debts, right? So that's like a case by case. Or I want to check the inventory flow, right? The inventory storage. Or how about my accounts payables? Or how about the bank reconciliations or variances analysis in my managerial accounting? So there are a variety of and a large volume of operational or accounting questions you may consider. So identify the right question and then master the data. So what type of data I need to collect to answer, to try to solve the problem or answer the question. So identify the data and then start collecting the data. So from your accounting system or from accounting system and other business information system. Okay, so decide where you can, the resources of the data, and also perform clean up. Okay, not most of the data when you collect it is not readily to be used in your analysis because it's maybe in some format, right? So you couldn't really use directly, like the customer, like customer preference. When you scrap those data from maybe your online sales database, they are in the form of the text, like text data, like the preference for the merchandise they bought, or their age, their education levels, and the customer history. So we need to lots of times we need to confirm the data into something quantitative, so we can use it to perform quantitative analysis. And also sometimes the data may contain errors, missing data. We also need to convert those things, okay, filling the missing data and correct all of the errors. I think if you complete our homework chapter 1, right, there is a brief pivot table analysis. When you perform pivot tables, you couldn't have any empty cell inside the pivot table area. That's probably you noticed during the demos. So for teaching purpose, when you perform the lab assignments, I normally already give you the data. You can use it in analysis directly, but in the real world, okay, most of the raw data need a tremendous amount of reworking cleanup, okay, before you can use it. Lots of the softwares offer additional cleanup apps. So they're like a separate app to help you clean up the data before you use it for in Excel or use it for Tableau or Power BI or other the application tools. And then step 3, so you can perform the analysis. And in this stage, the critical thing is found the right method, right? So I should use regression, I should use histograms, and which type of chart I use. Okay, I should use pivot tables or predictions. Okay, so you need to decide the math or statistical method. Okay, especially the quantitative method, we should analyze and manage the data. And then finally, after the results, you need to evaluate, okay, before. So I will add something here. So before you share the story or share the results to the users, you need to evaluate briefly, or at least briefly, the accuracy of the answers you derived from the analysis. Okay, for example, does the results look like right, okay, compared to my expectations? Because sometimes if it's really your own field, you have some intuitive feeling, right, or judgment. Have I got the right results? So make some evaluation and judgment. Or if you think I got the right results and it makes sense to answer my question, then you can save it and share your story to the different users. And during the sharing stage, you may use different visualizations to communicate better, right, for the results. Because lots of the users, they are not interested in your detailed analysis like the Excel tables or Tableau steps. They are looking for something like a dashboard or interactive PPT, right? So you can use the visualization to communicate and address the different questions from the users. So that's like the visualization can help us. So that's kind of a review, okay, like for the demos you will see for each of the demo. I'm not really sharing the ebook, but if you read the explanation for the demos, each of the demos they follow the steps. Okay, so in the beginning it's very useful. So they will let you know, okay, what's the question we are trying to answer here? So what's the data we have, how to perform the analysis, and finally evaluation and answer different questions. And this one quickly, okay, before we get on to the demos, the 4 popular types of data analytics also across different business or research disciplines. So depending on the value, okay, I'm not really saying absolutely the higher, but that's kind of our understanding, okay, based upon the value we can provide or offer from the analysis. The traditional accounting analysis will focus on descriptive, right? So this part, descriptive analysis, we focus on the past transactions, the past data or existing data. So we are trying to telling the users what's happening in the real time or what has happened in the past, such as the 4 financial statements, right? We learned from 231, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. They all belong to the descriptive analytics because they report the summary reports for the transactions already happened. Okay, so like past year, past 5 years. So easy to visualize, and we want the data to be accurate and handy for the operational management and even for external users, right? The shareholders or creditors. Then moving up, okay, so you can see diagnostic. Diagnostic can be both for internal and external users. For external users, they can use the financial ratio analysis. Okay, calculate the different ratios from the financial statement. For example, the current ratios, debt ratios, profitability ratios, right? All horizontal analysis or vertical analysis. So we can briefly make a diagnose, okay, for what's happening in the business, okay, which area we are doing better or we are doing okay, or which ratio indicate we have weakness or problems in our operations, right? So majorly for financial accounting, you can use ratios. And the ratio analysis can be done by both, again, external users, you can perform with the from an external perspective, okay, should I continue make investment in this company? So investors or creditors from the external perspective. For internal managers, there are multiple ways we can use diagnostic, such as the variances analysis. I believe the first project analysis in Connect is a variances analysis. So we compare the actual cost with the budget, right? So to see which part we are over, like we have favorable variances or unfavorable variances for different items. And there are also like for cost control, revenue control, right? So like we are over the budgets, under the budgets, so you can do lots of budget management using the diagnostic analysis. And this can be for existing data, the past transactions, not really for future. Okay, diagnostic is mostly still for the past data and existing data. Now looking forward, we are make predictions based upon the past, right? For example, I think for the demo, the lab 3 we are going to do, for example, I'm predicting how likely a company will go to bankruptcy, especially from external users, right? So investors or creditors. Before I put money in a company, I want this company to be to have strong performance and can sustainable operations in the future, right? So I want to use some maybe ratios or a combined ratio to make a prediction for the likelihood about the bankruptcy or going concern, or how likely a going concern or bankruptcy is a similar idea. Okay, so what's going to happen? Also, the internal managers is very important, right? They want to know what will be likely to happen in the future. Okay, for example, if the inflation, right? So we know we have strong inflation all the way after the COVID. The whole economy is under inflation. So if the inflation couldn't be relieved, next month or next year, okay, how that will continuously impact my operations. Okay, that's all kind of predictive. And finally, prescriptive. Okay, given the predictive, what is the solution? Okay, it's kind of the solution, or tell the managers what you exactly need to do to address the problems. For example, like under this inflation, if I want to control my cost increase under 10%. Makes sense? I know we have a big inflation, right? But if I want to control my cost, not exceeding 10% increase, so what I need to do, right? So cost, volume, and profit analysis. So that's like they have this step like as the incremental value we can add by different type of analysis. So when you go to the prescriptive and beyond, we need to rely on lots of the automations like AI or artificial intelligence, RPAs, like robotic operations, machine learnings, because with facing this tremendous like the big data, if you only use some simple like manual work or even Excel or even the simple like app couldn't really answer the complex questions. Okay, we need to bring lots of technology and intelligence, okay, into the analytical field. Okay, that's kind of the a brief review. Okay, so any questions so far?
No.
Okay, yeah, then I will quickly move to, so stop sharing the PPT and start on the demo, okay, to see how many, at least I think we can finish maybe lab 1 and lab 3. So I will stop this and share. So this is lab 1, the descriptive analysis. As I mentioned, I want to check the efficiency of our accounts receivable management. Okay, my research question is how to try to classify the past due accounts receivables. Okay, to check for each level or each range of the past due account receivables. Okay, how many customers or how many the total account receivables in the different range. Okay, let me zoom this in, okay, so I can show you more on my screen. So can you see my screen clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me do this. So this is a simple another pivot table practice. Okay, but I need to first calculate because like again after you got the raw data. So imagine the raw data, you know, we have different customers and our invoices and the original due date, right? So you can pull this information briefly from your probably your accounts receivable ledgers, right, from your accounting information system, the ending balance for each customer account. Makes sense? Not the general account receivable is from the customer subledgers, right? Because the general account receivable, we only see the total ending balance, but I want to have the ending balance for each customers. So your subledger account receivables. Then I want to calculate how many, like, how many the days they are already past due. And imagine the day I'm doing the analysis is by the end of the year, right? So because you don't want to do this on any random day, assume, okay, as ending of year analysis. So first I'm going to calculate the date past due. So if you follow, the book has nice step-by-step instructions, okay, for these lab demos. So date. So I will add another column to show the data past due as a calculation field. Okay. So first, the formula will be the difference between my current, like the date performing the analysis, and the different due date. Because I'm referring to the same, like today's date, okay, be careful. So I'm putting a dollar sign so I can fix. So I'm referring to the D, like D1, but a fixed. If you don't use the dollar, when you try to copy the formula to other rows, the reference will go to like D2 or D3, and that's not right, right? So you use a dollar sign if you want to have a fixed cell in your calculation formula. Then minus, okay, this one will be dynamic, right? So like it's moving along the row. And because you already defined the date, like the variable for C and G, they are date variables. So 163, this is the days. So once I got 163, I want to copy the formula to all of the remaining rows, right? You know, there are multiple ways we can do this. If you don't have many rows, you can just like see here, like click on the first row, wait this one. So wait for the black cross appear and then drag down to the rows you want to perform the calculation. Because I think we have over like 200 rows. A quick way to do this, or if you think I need to do this for all of the rows remaining, so and lots of a long way for me to drag. So we can do a shortcut. You can see here. I'm still waiting the black cross show up, appear, and see here. Okay, I will double click. Okay, make sure my mouse, my cursor, okay, move to the right bottom corner of the cell you already stored the formula and double click. Oh, that's a shortcut if you want to copy the formula to all of the remaining rows. Because sometimes you may want to only do for a few rows, then you can drag to the rows you want. Okay, you can see, you can check. If we have 200 rows. Okay, you can see as we move along, have you noticed the data past due is becoming smaller and smaller because the transactions later is the most recent. Most recent. So those are probably the recent account receivables, and the one we see in the top, right? Apparently, like how many? Almost like a half a year, right? So apparently it's too long. Right? So I got my calculation, the date past due. Then I'm going to use the pivot table to help me summarize, right? Because I want to group them. Even I have the calculation, but I couldn't still get a overall idea. Okay, I want to have a summary for the different range of the account receivable past due. So for this part, the pivot table is a powerful tool we can use in Excel. Before we do the before we do the pivot table, one more thing. To save your time, make sure your mouse is inside your pivot table area. Okay, for me, I have all of the rows and the 4 columns. I don't need the today's date. I don't need these 2 columns. Okay, only the pink or like this light orange, okay, the areas, make sure mouse is inside, and also no missing data here. Oh. If you have missing data, the pivot table will give you a reminder. Okay, so you couldn't do this. Also, one more step. Okay, before I use the pivot table, I need to convert the data range into a table format. Also, there are at least 3 ways you can convert a worksheet or part of the worksheet into a pivot table. The easiest one, I believe, so if we are inside, I can use a command, okay, like a command from here. And I believe you also can, somewhere here, you can convert. Or use Control T. Control T is another way to do it. But I believe at least there are 3 ways. Okay, but let's just do this. Go back to home and I normally use this format. So we'll use the format because this also give you kind of the color and the format options. I kind of prefer a light yellow, right? And during this time, they will pop up a recommended range of pivot table, right? You know, I already know I'm going to use all of them. If you need a part of your data range, you can adjust from here, right? So I just don't want to do maybe half of the data. You can adjust the row and the columns, okay, to exactly fit your analysis. And make sure if you already have the table, the headers, the first row, and telling the pivot table, I already have my headers, and then click on OK.
Professor, I thought you needed to adjust it to go to D because you said you didn't need the data in F or G.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, I got
Okay.
this. Yeah, so thank you for the reminder. Okay, let me see. My table, yeah, okay, let's try this. Oh, I think they probably put, but again, let me try to do one more thing. So this is the way you want to adjust, right? So because you can see they've put like a GA, if you don't want to have like a G, right? So right now I can, for example, I can change this to D. The 4 columns only, right? So you always can adjust from here. And with the data, I think I probably need to have the headers because A is my, yeah, let's do this. No. So now we only have the 4 columns. Okay, it's more clean. Now you can see, because if you use a table, they already show the summarize with the tables. Another way you can start on the pivot table is to insert. Okay, let me show you the other way. So if you click on the insert, you see the pivot table, where there is another option. Okay, at least 2 options to start your pivot table. So I'm going back to here, I think. They already disappear, but anyway, okay. And you can really start on the summarize with pivot tables in the prior screen. But because I didn't use it, it is disappeared, right? But now I still can go from here and use initiate the pivot table. And I can call, you can table 2, and you can call this is accounts receivable, for example. Okay, analysis, right? So make it a meaningful worksheet. And normally we want the data appear in in a new worksheet. Or if you want to be part of your existing sheet, you can click on here and define the range of the location. But don't normally do this because it really get confusing, okay, and hard to tell your original data and the pivot analysis. If you have connected tables, for the simple, we only have one original data sheets. If you have multiple connected data sheets, you can use this one to conduct connected pivot tables. We probably can try this later when we move to chapter 3 for database management. Okay, we call relational database or connected database. So I will click on OK. Oh, table range. I'm sorry, that's so I thought it's the name of the worksheet, or it's not. Then this is right. Not table. The table is the one we just created. I'm thinking like it's asking me to rename the pivot, like where the pivot table will show. New worksheet. Okay, we can change the name of the worksheets later. And now, after you try, like I think I probably need to include, otherwise it's give me a, when I see the first row I included. I know, let's try, okay, this. So I want my date, past due, and the customer name, I think. Okay, so this will be the row. And then the column 4 is our calculation. So you can see the reason. Okay, because I didn't click my table didn't have the headers. That's I got the customer. Okay. And I probably need to remove it. Let me see. Delete this, or remember the step. Okay, I can check. Okay, I can check my table has headers. You wouldn't have this. Okay, that's the difference. So I can, so probably I couldn't remove. So, but I know this is not a real customer. Okay, so let's do another one so I can remove the header from here. Yeah, that's what happens when we convert it to the table. So let me just probably do this. So paste the values. Okay, I will remove the. So I'm gonna to create a new table this time for it to. Okay, see this time, okay, it's already checked the worksheets with the Excel already detected I have headers. Okay, so we can avoid. It's still workable, okay, but I want to just I don't really want to have to have a customer, okay, like in the pivot analysis. So I will click on OK. And this time I'm starting from summarize with the pivot tables. and table 3 and new worksheet. Yeah, I think this time is clear. And now it's very, I want to pull the customer as a row because, that's giving me the summary for each customer, okay, and the total account receivable past due for this customer. And then the date past due as the values. And the sum, okay, you may wonder is seemingly not right. Like, that I'm telling you, because we are trying to see the average, right? So the average of the count, okay, like the days. So let's change the sum of the past due days, okay, to, I believe is count. For changing the calculation of the values, I can start also from here or use the columns directly. But normally I do through here. So you can see one more time. Click on the down arrow, the black arrow, and use the data value field. Right now is sum. Okay, you can try different ways. So for example, I use count or average. So it's changed to count. And let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. So this one, I need to, for the invoices, okay, not really the customers, I need to remove the customer and put the invoice amount. Oh, sorry. The date past due is here, right? And then, so data past due is my analytic field. I want to do a summary for the range of the data past due. Then for the values, I can use the invoice amount, but make a, so count. I don't really summarize the values. Okay, so use the value field and count of them. Before we move further, okay, right now I got some initial result. And the row label gives you the idea for the different days past due. The minimum is 9, right? So probably think 9 is the most recent. And all the way down, you can see all of the range of our data past due from 9 all the way to 163. That's coming from our original calculation in the pivot table. And then the count of the invoice is giving me an idea how many invoices falling into the past due date. For example, past due date 9, I only have 1 invoices, but there are 2 invoices in the due date past is already 16. Then we have 3 and 1. So it's too discrete, like too sporadic, right? I still couldn't perform a clear idea. I want to give a range. Normally the range, we analyze the data past due. For example, we have 0 to 30 days, and 30 to 60 days, and 60 to 90, and probably beyond. So we want to have a range grouping analysis for the data past due. So if you want to do a group for your interested variables, so you can do from here. You can click on any row of the date past due and right click on it. You will see group or ungroup options. And this group or ungroup, I believe if you click on here and click on the data, you also have grouping options. Let me see here, pivot table. Yeah, pivot table analysis. Okay, you can select the group or ungroup. Okay, there are two ways you can do this. So under the pivot table analysis, you have like lots of different tools you can directly use or design especially for the pivot tables. So I'm going to choose the group selections. So if you use the right click, you got the same pop-up window. It's asking how you want to group or like put the range of the variables. So I'm starting from, for example, because you can, if you're looking for the minimum 9, I'm using 0. And 163, I will use a more broad. It will be inclusive, okay, for the actual days I have. Incremental by 30. So what I'm telling the program is, okay, I want a count from 0 days to 180 days. So it's including my real data, right? So 9 and 163, you make sure your actual data is in the data range. And you want to put your incremental range. Okay, I'm using 30. And if you want to more broad, you can maybe use 60 or other things. Then you can click on OK. So this is my final summary of the result of the different days past due. Okay, how many transactions in each group. And probably I wouldn't vary. Okay, looking for the results. For account receivables, as we learned from the financial accounting, so normally the days for payments So normally the due dates for account receivables is to 30 to 60 days or 30 to 45 days. So in Wheel analysis, I wouldn't really worry about these two, right? So like the colors, if I can do. Those are the green zones. So means they are okay, right? So not past due yet. And then now it's depending on your judgment, right? So how about the next two columns? They are kind of past due probably already. You can want to maybe use the color, right? So like light pink or light orange. So you need to pay attention, okay, to those and to see what you can do to like maybe communicate with the customers, okay, make them to make payments as early as possible. Then these two are especially, right? I think I would really worry about this. I probably put this red. Okay, so what's happening? Because we have a lot of, okay, you can see the count, 42 invoices. Date past due is after how many, like 4 months, okay, 4 and 5 months. So why this is happening? So is this related to our credit policy or any other problems? And for this, okay, you say, you even have higher, okay, like more past due account receivables. I probably think, okay, you need to decide checking, like, you know, do you need to recognize bad debt? Because if they are really bad at that, I probably can write them down. So means I recognize the loss on the account receivables, like recognize them as a bad debt expense and remove these account receivables, the very old ones. But it's case by case. Okay. I just ask and some general questions based upon the result. But if you read a book, they have some additional detailed questions can help you analyze the result of this data past due receivables. So because of the time, I'm not really doing those one by one. So after you get your own results, you can try to answer those questions. Okay, I will leave it to you to check for additional questions. So sorry for the kind of backing at first. Okay, so any questions for this one? So let the demo one. So when you do this first, okay, like make sure you check the header things. Okay, so you wouldn't have the customer listed in the pivot table. Okay. And also some trick things here. For example, if you see when I trying to tag my pivot table, if my cursor or the mouse is inside the pivot table, I can see the field choices, right? So I can drag and drop, so move around to perform the analysis in different ways. But if I move my mouse, okay, like outside of the pivot table, the data choices, the field disappear. Okay, that scares some people in the beginning. Okay, so there's just a one quick trick. Okay, moving back, you see and the field, and you can adjust your pivot table accordingly. Also, I think there is a one way if you see it's disappear, and when you're doing the data, something you can see like a show, like will somewhere you can see like show the field choices. Then you also can bring the data fields back to the like the screen. Okay, review, not really review. But a quick way is like here. Questions? So before I move to the others. So then let me stop share, and so probably we can do one more at least. Okay. So I'm going to share the lab 3, a prediction for bankruptcy. Oh no, this one. Yes, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we have also a long. This is a much larger data set than the accounts receivables. We have more than like how many? Like 1,000 something rows. Okay, like we have here. And this is a also extracted data from your ledger system. Okay, we are trying to use these account values and use them to calculate a formula, like a formula they call Z-score, to predict the likelihood for a company to go bankruptcy. Okay, also you can call going concern analysis. And the short name, okay, the name of the columns, okay, you can have the DV key is some is kind of the stock ticker, okay, or the symbol representing the ID for different companies, okay, like in nationally, okay, in the stock market. And you have the company name and the fiscal year and all of the accounts. So we have account receivable, the short name, okay, acronym, short name, account receivable, total asset, earnings before interest and taxation, okay, tax expense, EBIT. Long-term, oh, I think this is current liabilities, okay. And then long-term liabilities, net income for the current year, current period, return earnings, sales revenue, and market value. Market value is not from your financial statement, is your market value of your shares, right? So it's normally represented, the market valuation of the company is the shares outstanding multiplied by the stock price, okay, market value. Because in the financial imbalance sheet, we have the book value of the company, right? And this is the market value. So based upon this is a so if you can read, okay, like probably you already saw that there is Altman, okay, Mr. Altman invented a Z-score using the account we have here to calculate a formula. So use the Z-score based upon the result of the Z-score, so we can briefly put the company into like distressed, means they are likely to face bankruptcy problem, or in gray zone, or it's kind of uncertain. And then for relative safe companies, with three zones to showing the likelihood: highly likely, likely, or unlikely. Okay, you can see that. So let's quickly, you can check the formulas quickly. Again, okay, before I can perform my score analysis, I needed to do a few calculations. First, in the Altman's Z, we have 5 calculated variables based upon the raw data. Okay, so just to put, they normally call X1 through X5. Okay, then the Z is a combination with a weighted on the 5X. Okay, X1, I already did my formula. Okay, so I put it down in a paper. Okay, it's hard. So X1 is a ratio to indicate like financial ratio about your working capital. So we use D2 minus, oh, I'm sorry, this is your current assets. The minus the D2 is your current liabilities, because working capital equals to current assets minus current liabilities. But because we are comparing different companies, we need to denormalize, okay, normalize the data. Because if you only look for the working capital, the large company will have large numbers, right? Small company will be at disadvantage. So we want to normalize them. Okay, like so they use a denomination by the total assets to normalize the data. So divide by the total assets. Then in this case, we can compare the different size of companies. So this is, so we just leave it as the raw data. Okay. Working capital, ideally, normally we use like percentage or something. Okay. So let me see and make sure I got it right. So normalize, no, not dollar values, no. And X2 is a ratio to indicate your long-term earnings or cumulative earnings level. So with this one, we use return earning, also divided by the total assets to normalize the data. And X3 is your short-term earnings, is like your current earnings. So for this one, we use the earnings before income, in interest expense and tax expense for current period only, or divided by the total assets. And then X4 is your long-term solvency. Another way, like the debt percentage. We have how we assume the too much debt. So debt coverage, for this one, I use the market value divided by H2 is our long-term debt. So market value compared to the long-term liabilities is a ratio. And then X5 is your efficiency or efficiency of the operations. How quickly, or in another way, the speed for us to generate revenues. So this is like a speed efficiency, the speed ratio. So we use the K, the sales revenue divided by the total assets. So probably you already noticed the total assets we have here is not really as the ratio itself. It help us normalize and unify the size of the companies. Okay, so we can evaluate them as a big group. So each of the X, and now I'm putting them together under the Z, and we'll evaluate the likelihood for bankruptcy based upon the Z calculation. And it's not an average, so it's not an average of the X, or is a weighted. So the weight you can see is like here, I have 1.2 times X1. Okay, the 1.2 is the weight, okay, weighted Z-score, and then plus I have a little bit higher weight for the long-term profitability, okay, times X2. Then I give, so this one is really high, current earnings, right? So the current earnings have the highest weight among all of the X's. So times X3, and add a small weight for liabilities. X4 is 0.3, and then for the efficiency, the ratio, the weight is 1. Okay, there is like 1 times. Okay, I wouldn't really put the 1. So the formula, okay, before you move on, so check your calculation step by step, okay, before you move to the next step. This is a we call weighted ultimate Z-score. Okay, then click on OK. I will calculate the first. Okay, then copy the formula, the calculation to all of the remaining rows. So for this one, I want to repeat all of the 6 columns. Okay, similar thing I use for 1 column. So check the row and wait for the black cross, then double click. So this will repeat your calculation for all of the rows for the 6 columns. And now I can move, probably you already noticed, right? The Z is really like varied a lot between the observations. Okay, let me highlight this. Use a lighter one. And the evaluation will be based upon the Z only. And for this one, I'm going to use the data analytic package included by Excel directly. So where is it? So when you click on data, and this is the one, the tool I need to use. Is not is not a default Excel display and this solver. Okay, like but these you can add, like you can add it as an option, okay, using the option. So if you don't see you have the data analysis in your Excel app, you can add from here. So click on the file, options, okay, be option, and select the add-ins and the analysis tool pack. So make sure you highlight this. And here, don't click on OK yet. Okay, make sure you see this Excel add-ins and go. I already checked. Okay, if you don't have that, you need to check this. And you see, can you have others, right? So VBA is some like coding things. Okay, if you like, you can add all of them. I think for me, I just check the two. The solver, we can use it for other type of things, like optimization of your resources. But the main thing we are using here, like regressions and lots of the statistical tools offered from here. Okay, so I'm click on OK. And because I already have it, you don't see anything. If you don't, okay, after you follow these steps, you should see the data analysis. And before I use it, I need to add a one more column, okay, to show like the bins, additional like the range, okay, like the bankruptcy, the zone or the range. Okay, so I will add another column I call bins. So the bin T1 I will put maybe in, because in the tutorial they put like in under T. Okay, I will do under T also. And then 1.59. And the reason, okay, I can explain the reason. If a company, after the calculation, if their score is fall below this 1.8, means they are in the distressed zone, likely, okay, very likely to go to the bankruptcy. And if the company's score between 1.8 and 2.8, they call green zone. So means likely, okay, like kind of likely, uncertain. Okay. And then anything beyond 2.8, okay, means that relative safe. Okay, but for this one, I wouldn't put any new numbers. So the two numbers will help us break down the Z into 3 bins or 3 groups, right? Below 1.8, between 1.8 and 2.8, and all the remaining higher than 1.8. Okay, but for this one, that means all of the remaining ones. Now I'm going to the data analysis. So you will see lots of the different statistical package, the tools, regression, ranking, ANOVA, correlation, right, covariances. So I'm going to choose the histogram and click on OK. And for this one, it's asking you to put your the data range and also your bin range. Okay, so data range I'm going to manually put it here. So I'm going to use the dollar. So R, be careful why I use R. R is our Z score. Okay, R1. So $R and $1. And then you can put the, I think the rows of the data. If you want to do all of the, all of the rows, so you can put like R. Oh, dollar. The $R, and then how many rows you have. I'm just doing a small demo. Okay, for example, I don't want to do all of them, so I just pick maybe like 5,000. And again, okay, later if you check how many rows you have, you can include all of them. Okay. And the bin range will be the T1 to T3. Okay, so I will do this. Okay, just click on that. Oh, T2 to T4. Let me see, T1 to T3. Oh, here. So let's see, because I remember the book has some. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, like otherwise we can adjust. Do I need to include in the T1 or not? And put a new workbook. or you can put it here. Okay, like I want to show in a new workbook. You can have a chart output or like a visualization. Okay. And including the labels. Then let's try. Oh yeah, I think this one. Oh, more frequency. It's not, let's try, okay, 1.8 because I want to do let's try to do one more time. Oh, probably let's go back a little bit. Because probably I covered my original data. Okay. I should, I think I put it in a new worksheet, or maybe accidentally I put it in the existing worksheet. Okay, it's covered. But let me close this and not save. But in case, okay, I need to input the formulas because we don't have time. Okay. The problem is because I use T2 to T4, so probably we can use T1 to T3. Okay, so that's probably can solve this problem. Okay, T1 to T3 rather than to T2 to T4. So let me quickly close this and to see whether I can get back to workbook 2. Oh, here. Okay, this is my original because I put it in a new like Excel. Okay, I just want to. So let's do this. I want to show it in another worksheet. Okay, notebook. So we can repeat. Go to the data analysis histogram. Oh, new workbook. Okay, like new worksheet. And let's adjust this to 1 and 3 and label. Oh, okay, now we got it right. So you can see it's classifying. So you if you want to get a total, that should be 5,000. Again, okay, it's counting. I'm saying like because I'm doing 5,000 because including the row 1 is not company, right? So actually it's 4,999. And this is the distribution of the companies. Okay, let me enlarge. So we have, can see that's kind of alarming, right? So like interesting. Almost a half of the company falls into the distressed. Remember your definition for the beans. And this is the gray zone. And we have safe companies. Right, so and they give you a visualization. Okay, so probably that's something you can make some prediction. I think because of the time, I will stop here. The other two demos is really straightforward. Later, I will record a video and post it. Okay, so you can have all of the 4 videos. And again, okay, if you haven't followed it, I really recommend, and so it's not really homework, but I really recommend you try, and it will help you to finish the project as well. Okay, so Thursday, I probably I will use it as a question and answers, okay, to like a lab session, but for problems. Okay, I'm not doing demos, but I will be there to answer questions. Okay, you can share your screen if you have problems, and I can do the troubleshooting. Okay, that's for Thursday.
Okay,
Mhm.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
sometimes, there's never like the lab is always, oh, this time I can do it. But sometimes, I'm backing at first. Okay. Okay, so I will stop recording. I will post the link. I forgot where. I will post the video. Okay, this I recorded as a